What is up, guys? Welcome back to another MADFLIX movie reviews. And in this review we're going to be talking about Street Fighter II, the animated movie, which was released in 1994. My first time watching the movie was due to my friend. He had the VHS copy of the movie, and of course it was Japanese with English subtitles. After watching the movie, I was blown away. I said, I gotta own this movie. So later on down the line, I ended up getting the yellow box VHS version, which of course I got it from Blockbusters, and I thought that was the full-length movie, but come to find out that was the edited version. There's a lot of scenes cut, and I was very pissed off and disappointed at that because it wasn't even really the full movie. It actually made it shorter. Then they ended up releasing the purple box version of the movie, which was the uncut version, and that was good. The quality was great. Then they ended up releasing the same purple version on DVD for the first time, and now I have it on Blu-ray, which is HD remastered in 1080. And I just did a video on this unboxing, and I'll leave the link in the description. I'm going to read the back. The world's top fighters are about to go head-to-head in this explosive animated adaptation of the classic Street Fighter II arcade game. M. Bison's plan to crush those who would oppose his evil Shadowloo organization is simple. Brainwash the strongest martial artists around the world with his dreaded psycho power and turn them into living weapons. And now he's found his newest target, Ryu, a traveling vagabond said to be the strongest man in the world. In order to stop the dictator's evil plot, Interpol agent Chun-Li forms a rocky partnership with Major Guile of the United States Air Force. But they'll have to put aside their differences and learn how to work together if they want to stop M. Bison. While the wandering Ryu is a hard man to find, M. Bison is closing in on Ryu's eternal rival Ken in a bid to lure out his real target. Will Shadowloo succeed, or will the World Warriors beat M. Bison to the punch? See the action, and we mean all the action, in Street Fighter II, the animated movie, presented on Blu-ray, fully remastered and in high definition for the first time. I remember the opening scene with Ryu versus Sagat, and just the way they were fighting each other. The opening scene, you see the lightning, and it's like really pitch dark, and then all of a sudden you see them and they're just fighting each other, and Ryu and Sagat, they're getting their hits in. Finally Ryu opens up with a Shoryuken, and in the middle of the air Sagat is just falling and his chest just explodes full of blood. But of course, he doesn't end up dead, and that's how we learn how Sagat got the scar from Ryu. Then you have Chun-Li. She's working with Interpol, and she wants to go after Bison, but she needs help from the Air Force. So she then talks to Guile, and Guile is like, hell no, I'm not gonna help you. He's like, Bison's ass is mine. I'm gonna get Bison myself, because he wants to avenge his friend's death, because Bison killed Charlie.
I'm Chun-Li.
Yeah, and?
Well, Captain, we're here to discuss the joint Shadow Law investigation with you.
Bison's ass is mine.
Huh? What do you mean, Captain?
I don't need Interpol's or anyone else's help to take him out.
Hey, Brushhead! This is not a request!
You want Bison destroyed, don't you? So what's the problem?
So they end up finding Ken, and Ken ends up fighting T-Hawk in some warehouse. And I mean, T-Hawk was just this huge ass guy. And I was like, there's no way that Ken's gonna win this fight. And sure enough, Ken ends up winning. T-Hawk was about to get lit, but he stops, and then T-Hawk is like, well, finish it. And he just walks away, and T-Hawk is really pissed off because he really wanted Ken to finish it. So these cyborg robots that they have, they're like all over the place due to Bison, because he's still trying to track down Ryu. He can't find him. And then you have the fight between, you know, Dhalsim and E Honda, and of course Dhalsim was winning. But while Ryu shows up, Dhalsim feels there's somebody's presence who's real strong in the crowd, but he can't determine who it is. And that's how E Honda ended up winning. And the funny thing is, E Honda shares his winnings with Ryu. Oh, and also you can see over here in this scene, you can see Akuma. He's just sitting there by the wall. I don't know why though Akuma didn't end up fighting. Really don't know why. But regardless of the fact, the movie was great because you still had Blanca. Blanca ends up showing up and he fights Zangief. And that's when Zangief does a special move and he does that pile driver. And I really thought he killed Blanca with that, but he didn't. But then he ends up, you know, coming out of it. Then Blanca gets his hits in. Then Blanca does the bite just like the game. And so that was pretty cool. Then you have DJ, he makes an appearance. And he's fighting like these, I guess these guys are like punks or they're robbers or whatever they're supposed to be. And so Chun-Li and Guile, they find him. And they start talking to him. And they're like, listen DJ, you know, you gotta watch out. There's these cyborgs, and then you got Shadowloo there after you. You know, Bison's trying to recruit people, and this way, you know, they can join the Shadowloo organization. And of course, you have Vega. Vega makes a scene where he ends up showing up to Chun-Li's apartment, and he does major damage to her, and she ends up in the hospital. But of course, Chun-Li gets revenge before she ends up in the hospital. So that's points for her for doing that. You know, honestly, I really hated Vega for doing that. Then you have Balrog. You know, Balrog ends up fighting E Honda later on down the line. So these two guys are getting into it. And it's like, you know, they're just fighting. So then it leads down to the main point where M. Bison tracks Ken. And he ends up telling Ken, you know, you have no choice to join the Shadowloo organization. And Ken is like, the hell with you. I don't really need to be joining anything. He's like, who the hell are you anyway? And all of a sudden, of course, that's when M. Bison decides to make his move and use his psycho power to overthrow Ken's thoughts. The doctor guy who's working with M. Bison, he's like telling Bison, listen, Ken's not ready. But M. Bison's like, I don't want to hear that. Just send him out to find Ryu and let them duke it out. And my favorite scene is the fight when it comes down towards the end, because he does find Ryu and he starts fighting Ryu. And then little by little, of course, Ken comes snapping out of this brainwashing thing that, you know, M. Bison had on him, this hold he had on him. Finally, he can get back on his feet, and then he sees Ryu fighting Bison. Then they end up both taking on Bison. They fight him, and as they're fighting him, you know, they're getting their hits in, but also Bison's really kicking their ass.
Shall I end it now?
And that's my favorite part because it reminds me of Street Fighter Alpha, where there's this one part in the game where you can have Ken and Ryu actually fighting Bison, and it's just like the movie. And again, the movie was really great and it was good. Like I said, I felt like they made M. Bison way too strong, but of course he is an evil villain, and if you're a Street Fighter 2 fan and you don't have this movie, this is definitely a must-have. A lot of the characters are in the movie, And overall, it definitely is a worthy movie to watch. Again, I just recently watched it. So that's it for my review on Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, here on MADFLIX Movie Reviews.